Okay guys, I just want to go over the Fastback and some of the stuff I had done to it here over the last 5 weeks. I took it into the shop and had them work on it. I got the alignment done, got it shimmed, had them clean up this engine bay a little bit, put a new snorkel on it. He suggested I go with a mechanical fan, so he put a mechanical fan on there with the shroud, took off the electric fan which I got over there. The electric fan, when I had this thing first started up and was running it never got above about 195, 200, if that. With this mechanical fan, I had it out here running to warm it up so I could check the tranny fluid, and it got up to about 220. So I don't know if I'm going to leave that on or put the electric fan on or not. We'll just have to kind of see how that goes. Now, a few things that they did that's kind of stupid is they put this overflow on, which is nice and which I wanted, but look at this hose they put on there. And then they just put a wire tie, zip tie on it. Now on the bottom, look how much hose is down there. Now the hose is so big, and the nipple is about half the size of my pinky. So look how big that one is. Yeah, I mean, the hose isn't going to fit. You have to put an adapter or something on there. So obviously I can't drive the car back to them. So I'll have to figure something out with it. Another thing, the car's not shifting out of first. He doesn't test these with a gauge. He just does them by feel. Well, over here, this low car cable that he had, which is this right here, was so frayed on the end, it was sticking out and not even going into that housing. So I don't even know how they tried to adjust that, but I'll go get a gauge tomorrow from Harbor Freight, throw it on there. I know what the readings are supposed to be, and see what kind of readings I'm getting, because the car will not shift out at first. And now I don't know if that's because it's been sitting for 2 years. I really don't know, but you know, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to check the tranny fluid again tomorrow. Had a little bit too much in. That was my fault. I went ahead and took that out. They got the exhaust all on the car. So you can see I got the trumpet tips on it. You can see the reverse lights. So I got the trumpet tips, which look real good, the reverse lights. Now this light was not, the turn signal wasn't working. It was like it was coming off of the parking light. So it was a grounding issue. We undid some bolts and scraped it down, and now the blinkers work real good. The reverse lights were not working. For some reason on the American wire harness, there's a pink wire that comes off that I spliced into, that the direction said that goes to the neutral safety switch and the reverse lights. For some reason that wasn't working, so we just retapped it, ran a wire back in through the firewall, and I got more than enough space in my fuse box. There was one spot there, we put it in, and they work great now. So, I'm kind of mixed emotions on 5 weeks and the amount of money that I spent for them to work on the car. This overflow thing. I mean, look at that. Look at that hose. That's just mind-numbing, But they did clean up the engine bay. They got the air cleaner a little bit closer to the battery than I would like. I had it pushed back a little bit, but, you sometimes got to do what you got to do. And the TV cable, I don't know if that's why they couldn't get it adjusted. I'll play around with that tomorrow. They also threw a timing light on it, so they've got it all completely timed up. It's other than that, it's running good. Like I said, e-brake's working. There was another thing he did. There was a brake line that was running. You can see the headers down there. Yeah, you can kind of see the headers right back in there. Well, there was a brake line that was running basically right next to it. So I said, hey, why don't you go ahead and, see if you can move that, because I don't want to boil my brake fluid. They're like, okay, we'll do that. So I got under there. When I got in the car, when I got home, I went to shift it, and the shifter wasn't lined up with park, neutral, reverse, all the different gears, and I had it set perfectly when it went to him. So I got under there, and he routed that brake line right basically where that shifter linkage is. So I spent 3 hours repositioning that sucker, and the brake line, he didn't even put any clamps or anything on it, so I got about a 4-foot section, or not 4 foot, maybe a 3-foot section of the brake line that's just dangling, bouncing around. So now I got to get under there and I got to tie that down so it's not bouncing all around, you know, and going to cause a leak in the braking system. You know, the reason I took it to these guys is because I wanted the car to be, you know, roadworthy. I wanted them to check it out. It's been 2.5 years, and you know, cut corners. You know, I don't know what you call it, but you know, if you're doing one of these projects, I can't say it enough. If you can do the work yourself, and you've got the patience, do the work yourself, because then you know, you got no one to blame but yourself. You know, I went in there once a week for 5 weeks, was in there 3 times this week. I think they were glad just to get the car out of the way, you know, get it out of the shop. Oh, and the proportioning valve, which basically adjusts the rear brakes because they're drawn to the front brakes, which I converted to disc. I'm like, well, can you adjust that? And they're like, oh, no, you can do that. So they wouldn't even do it. And I'm like, okay. Now the exhaust system, which it's a JBL, it's, you know, it sounds pretty mighty, but I want to get some Delta Flow, you know, 40s on it, and they put the whole system on. I'm like, well, did you put the Delta 40s on? No, why do you want to do that? You got stainless steel mufflers now. Why would you want to put aluminum ones on there? Duh, because that's the sound I wanted for the car. So, you know, it's just mind-numbing how, you know, you ask people to do something, you're going to pay them, and you're paying $90 an hour, you know, for their shop fees. You know, you would think that they would do whatever. And I actually gave them a list. I gave them a itemized list of everything that I wanted done to the car. And so they didn't do the mufflers, they didn't do my proportioning valve, and they didn't adjust the TV cable. So, you know, they did do some good work on the car, but some other things, you know, they, you know, got kind of an F on. And, you know, they're a busy shop. It's a shop that specializes in Mustangs. They've got probably 20, 30 cars out there, and I understand they're busy, but, you know, we're all paying good money. Take the extra time to do it right the first time. So I've been here now for 6 hours going back and correcting things that they either fucked up or they didn't do right in the first place. So moral of the story is, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself, you know, and, you know, I hope you enjoy this video. It's just a little update.